Dear Grownups, it's Jessica here. Today we're going to tackle a listener's question that absolutely warms my heart. We're going to help our children build friendships with all their peers. I recently got a question from a listener who asked, Dear Jessica, my daughter Lily is in a library class with a child who I suspect has autism. Lily wants to play with him, but sometimes he acts differently, so she's not sure how to interact. How can I help her? That's a fantastic question, and it is something that I feel like a lot of parents grapple with. We want our children to understand other children and be able to connect with them. So how can we help our children become great playmates for children with autism? Let's find out. I think the first step is to let children know that everyone's brains work a little different. Some children love loud, fun environments, while other children like calm, quiet environments. Some children love to talk and sing, while other children communicate in different ways. At this point, because you don't know whether or not the child in your library class has autism or not, I don't think you need to put a label on that. I think you can just say, everybody learns differently, and that's okay. You're framing the situation as just a different way that this child is experiencing the world. We definitely want to replace the fear and anxiety of not knowing how to interact with someone who is different than us with curiosity and compassion. So let's talk about ways that your daughter, Lily, can invite this child into play. You can teach your child to observe what the little boy likes to do. Does he like to play with cars in the library area? Does he always pick books about trains? Trying to figure out what the interests are of that child. So if she finds out that he loves trains, maybe her goal for that day is to find the train cars at the library station or find books on trains and bring them to that child. I'm assuming we're talking about a young child, so this next suggestion is kind of obvious, but teach your child to use clear, short phrases to communicate with the other child. Teaching them to say things like, want to play blocks with me, instead of, do you want to build a city in the block center and then do this and this and this? Teaching them a short phrase, want to play with me, is a lot easier than a longer phrase for some of our friends who have differing abilities. This next suggestion is a tough one. Try to teach your child to be patient and wait for another child's response. Wait time is hard for grown-ups, so it's going to be hard for a young child to do also. And that's okay. It's a practice. We're all practicing this. But teaching your child to ask a question and then wait for the answer to come back. And letting your child know that playing beside the child while that child does something else, this is called parallel play, when Lily is playing with maybe the blocks and this child is playing with the blocks beside them, but maybe they're not building something together. Parallel play is absolutely perfect, and it's still playing together. And this is true of all peer play when children are young and learning these social skills, is that sometimes your child is going to be told no. The other child may not want to play with Lily, and that's okay. The fact that she invited the other child to play or try to find their interests, all wonderful things, and she may have done all of those things just as perfectly as she's practiced at home, and the child still may not want to play, and that's okay. Teaching your child to be flexible and adaptable and saying, oh, that's okay. Maybe he doesn't want to play today. Maybe we can play again the next time, next week when we see him. We'll try again. Teaching them to be adaptable. We all need a little bit of adaptability in our lives. I would suggest that you get to know the child's mom or the child's caregiver, whoever is bringing them to the library. Ask some questions. First, I would teach Lily to ask the child questions herself and use that wait time. So, do you like trains? And waiting. And if there's no response back verbally, ask the mom, does he like trains? See that he's using a lot of trains. Ask some questions. All parents want their children included. And so sometimes that means we as parents have to answer questions. I'm assuming that this little boy's mom would welcome some questions from your child or from you to figure out how you can play better together. My first suggestion, though, would be always assume that the child can answer for themselves. So ask the child, if you're within earshot of the mother, maybe the mother will answer for him, but always ask the child first. At home, you can do things like reading books about people with differing abilities. TV shows are doing a better job of including neurodiverse characters in their storylines. I know Sesame Street has a character, and there's some other ones that I'll put in the show notes. Watch those shows with your child and don't point out the differences. I think that's what we kind of want to do is point out, oh, they're doing this differently, they're doing this differently. I think you can point out things like, oh my goodness, they love unicorns just like you love unicorns. They went on a train ride just like you went on a train ride. Point out the similarities. And that way, when you're at the library, you can find those similarities with that boy. So that way, maybe she can find similarities and ways to common interests with that child. Find the similarities. And sometimes in the beginning, it's going to be some silly things like he has Bluey on his shirt, just like you have Bluey. You like to watch Bluey. Finding those connections are a great way to start a friendship or start a play episode with another child. And once you have some of those open conversations with that mom, finding out what are some ways that we can make him feel more comfortable, or are there things we can bring over to him, or maybe he doesn't like to sit on the carpet, but he likes to sit on the couches, finding out some of his preferences and then being able to work around those. As I was videotaping this, my child came in from playing outside with the neighbors, and she had a few things to say too about how to make friends, and I thought you would like to hear it. Okay, Quinlan, so what would happen if you are going to play or trying to play with someone who doesn't speak with their mouth? What would you do?
I would use language.
Well,
Sign language.
sign language is a type of language, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So do you know any signs?
Friendship, stories, songs, now, play, yes.
That's a lot of signs. Did you learn those at school?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So have you ever played with someone who doesn't talk with their mouth?
No.
No. Have you ever talked with someone or played with someone who talks with an iPad?
I've seen people.
Yeah. What if you were on the playground and there's a person who isn't able to climb up the ladder?
I'll try to help them.
Yeah. What if they have like crutches or braces on their legs so they can't go up the ladder? Then what would you do?
I don't know.
But you still wanted to play with them. What could you do?
Mm-hmm. Do something else?
Yeah, you could play something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those are good answers. You're a good friend. Say see you later, grown-ups.
See you later, alligators.
Please let me know in the comments how you have helped your children to create inclusive friendships. If you found today's episode helpful, I would love for you to share it with the grown-ups in your life.